Monday Night Raw, April the 15th, 2023. I am MagMongoSlade. This is 3 Count Commentaries. Let's get into it. Rhea Ripley suffers an injury. She has to surrender her women's world title. People are saying that she was injured during the attack on Liv Morgan, that perhaps she was thrown into the wall and injured her shoulder there. Or perhaps when Liv smashed the chair over the back of her head, that perhaps, she got her shoulder. There's also some talk that it might not be a physical injury at all, that it might actually be something else, because she did supposedly have a panic attack at WrestleMania. Even though I think if it was that bad, they wouldn't have let her go out there and perform. So maybe that's not it. But in any event, Rhea Ripley is out. They're going to have to surrender the women's world title. This has led to a lot of people making huge assumptions about when people like Seth Rollins was injured. They didn't take the title from them. Roman went weeks and weeks and weeks without defending the title. And I get it. I'm thinking a lot of this is kayfabe, and that Rhea might be beat up, might be injured, but it might not be as bad as everybody is saying. But since they really did relinquish the title, this could be a very serious issue. So she starts Monday Night Raw, says she's coming back for blood. And she was mad at Liv Morgan, who came out giggling and sauntering and all that stuff. They had to be kept separate by security. Later, Liv Morgan said that this was eye for an eye, and that she's not the bad guy in this situation, that this is karma for what Rhea did to her. It took 8 months of her career. And they're going to decide who's going to be the next women's world champion next week on Raw. But they didn't say how. So let's discuss this. Rhea Ripley, get well soon. She was tremendous as the world champion. She was really good. They got a lot of sympathy on her in this scenario. So Liv Morgan was getting booed. She was getting booed for taking Mommy away from everybody. They even slightly turned Judgment Day babyface by having them surround Rhea and give her a hug and give her the good old pep talk and all this kind of stuff. I was like, that was weird for, a heel stable, for them to just galvanize around her like that. But, yeah, they know what they're doing. So, the women's world title. What do you do now that Rhea has to cough the belt up? Well, Becky is out. So, the injuries and the post-WrestleMania shine, where you got Rock, Roman, Rhea, Rollins, Becky, all gone. From, contract issues to injuries. So, post-WrestleMania, you just had a large chunk of the WrestleMania card just vanish, in 2 weeks. So isn't it a surprise that this Monday was the first Monday in, I think, 3 months or something like that, it wasn't sold out, when you have so many stars getting injured and leaving at the same time? There's no excuse, because they still booked a crappy show, but, that's something to consider. But back to the women's world title. Do you just give the belt to Liv Morgan and say, here, hold this until Rhea Ripley comes back? Because that's not going to be very satisfactory. But what other options do you have? Do you call Becky back to work early to give her the belt? Do you decide to give it to the Nia-saurus and Nia Jax is the champion? Or do you give it to Bianca Belair? Do you give it to Jade Cargill? That probably would not be the smartest option. Would you give it to Asuka, Io? Who would you give the belt to, so that the title will have some kind of meaning when Rhea Ripley returns? In storyline, it would make sense for you to give it to Liv Morgan, for her to win it in some way that is believable. The issue here is Liv Morgan's believability. She's so very tiny. But then again, a lot of these women are tiny. Zelina is tiny. Alexa is tiny. They're all just very small women. But most of the female roster, especially the Monday Night Raw as it currently sits, female roster is mid, extremely mid. I mean, they're just not credible contenders. Even the people of size like Nia Jackson, Piper Niven aren't on that level. The rest are the KC Squared, Chelsea Green, Maxine Dupree, Candice LeRae. Like, come on. None of these people are legitimate world champions. Your only hope, I guess, is to call Becky back from the couch. Give her whatever she wants. It's a contract year. Give her whatever she wants and call her back from the couch. Or you look over to SmackDown and you bring somebody over. Naomi, Bianca. Now, people will have questions about Naomi as a legitimate world champion. Bianca, of course, will always fit as a world champion. But they seem to be doing something with her with damage control and the tag team titles and all that stuff. So that kind of takes up Asuka as well, who is almost always a great sixth man for you to slide in a world title spot. Asuka is great for that, but right now she's a tag team champion and she's seemingly involved with the damage control storyline. So you can't use her. Bayley is a great sixth man too, but Bayley is currently a world champion on SmackDown. So what options do you have? Do you call somebody up from NXT? Why would you call somebody up from NXT just to make them the world champion? You really don't have that many options. So really, you got two on Raw. Nia Jax, Liv Morgan. And those are not your best options. Okay, like those are not the best options in the world. Of the two, I guess Nia Jax is the most believable as a world champion in terms of women. Nia Jax hasn't been on TV since she lost to Rhea Ripley at Elimination Chamber. I guess that's the best option you got. And I'm pretty sure if they're going to decide who the women's world champion is going to be next week, it's probably going to be a battle royal or a one-night tournament or something to that effect. So you could easily give the belt to Nia Jax and have Nia hold it. But I guess in storyline, it would make sense for it to be Liv Morgan. So I'm going to go with the guess that Liv Morgan is going to win the world title and hold it temporarily. Now, there's some chatter that because Triple H never gives up on his favorites, as you see from the rest of this stuff that we're going to talk about in a second. He never gives up on some of his favorites. That he might actually go with Shayna Baszler. I think that there would be no more of an example of nepotism. You know how Vince used to love guys like Edge and Brock Lesnar, where they end up as world champions even when it doesn't make sense? That's kind of what we would be looking at if Shayna Baszler all of a sudden was the women's world champion. Everybody would be like, wait a minute. Shayna Baszler, who gets no reaction, who is almost never booked, is very rarely ever there. Nobody cares about her. And all of a sudden she's the women's world champion. She had to be female Gunther, but she doesn't have the charisma, the stature, or the look. That would be something. But I'm guessing you go ahead with either Nia Jax or Liv Morgan. They're probably going to go with Liv Morgan. So the women's world title situation has done nothing but expose how weak that division is. It's a terrible division. It's not good. A whole lot of not good. And it's all, and Rhea Ripley not being there has definitely exposed it. But we'll see how it turns out next week. Sheamus returns. He's got his original theme song with his The Bar entrance. Okay. Sheamus defeats Ivar. Great. Fantastic. Who cares, really? Nobody cares shit. Alright, Triple H came out there because they're going to reveal the New Era Tag Team Championships. These are the Raw Tag Team titles, which are now known as the World Tag Team Championships, just like they were in the Ruthless Aggression era. The Raw titles were known as the World Tag Team titles. The SmackDown were known as the WWE Tag Team Championships. So, R-Truth, he had a huge bit about Triple H being a magician, making championships appear out of thin air. Then, of course, he thought Triple H was Tommaso Ciampa. The crowd was not with R-Truth on these jokes. He wasn't getting crickets, but it lacked oomph. He got a great reaction when he came out, but then he started doing shtick. Everybody was kind of like, how stupid is R-Truth really? Like, that became the question, like, how dumb are you really? So, but the new titles look great. They're basically just two versions of the titles that already exist. It's consistent with the World Championship and the Women's World Title, just in different colors. So, I don't think they look bad. And they're finally gold again, which is the first time in a long time that the tag team titles are actually gold. And I appreciate that. Also, the new era just seems to be Triple H coming out there blowing smoke up everybody's asses. I wish he would stop doing that. All right. Adam Pearce announced a number one contenders match for the tag team titles. The Creed Brothers versus New Day versus DIY. And Triple H's boy is DIY win the match. Because he never gives up. He will force feed you DIY. He's going to have to pry my mouth open like Clockwork Orange and just shove, stomp Johnny Gargano down your throat. I mean, you thought Vince was trying very hard with Roman Reigns. At least Roman Reigns got over. These guys not even getting over. Nobody cares about these. You could hit Johnny Gargano with a goddamn truck on Monday Night Raw and nobody would care. I mean, the moon could fall from the sky and land directly on his fucking forehead and nobody would care. I mean, my goodness. Whoa. New Day. Let's talk about New Day for a second. Because for starters, I'm tired of New Day. Everybody knows that. But Big E apparently is never going to be medically cleared again. And he's pretty much going to be retired. It's 2 years. He's still not medically cleared. He said he had not grown new bone in his neck. So it's probably over. He has not said it is over. But it's over. So, I mean, the guy did everything that he could possibly do. If you're a big fan of him, you probably wanted to see him on top again for a little while as a world champion, as a main event guy. But you have to accept what you got, which, for some people is not much. There was talk about, he suggested that New Day find another third guy, but they shot that down. So New Day is still running around as a duo, and that ain't going to work for me, brother. I'm tired of New Day. We need new tag teams. The tag team division is weak. The Women's World Championship division is very weak, as Rhea Ripley's injury exposed. The tag team division, when you look at the tag team scene, and it's always DIY, and it's always New Day, it's weak. All right? It's terrible. The Creed Brothers, they're good, but they've been ostracized, I guess. I don't know what they did to Triple H that they get treated this way, but they do. Drew McIntyre was backstage seething at CM Punk and kicked over a TV. He's very not happy. Apparently, they're talking like Drew McIntyre probably got about 5 or 6 more weeks left on his contract, and that he still has not resigned. I wonder if that's true. There's quite a few people who are supposedly in a contract year. Rollins, Becky, Drew McIntyre, heard Sheamus maybe. And the company is dragging ass on re-signing some of these people. Or they're trying to wait for the Netflix money to kick in, or whatever the case may be. I don't know. I don't understand why you would use somebody prominently if they're not re-signed. Just gave him a huge moment at WrestleMania. Yes, he didn't get to stay the world champion, but he is in a feud with CM Punk, who can't wrestle. So why would they be doing all this stuff if Punk can't work and McIntyre's on his way out? So I would imagine McIntyre re-signed something, or they're going to have some kind of an extension or something to that effect. Indy Hartwell and Candice LeRae defeated Ivy Nile and Maxine Dupree. The only thing, I don't know why this exists. I don't know why this exists. I know that these people have been feuding with each other, but I don't care. All right. Indy Hartwell is going over to the dark side. She's cheating along with Candice LeRae now. So that was a very important development that we needed to learn on the... Get the fuck out of here. Damian Priest, I did a vignette for Damian Priest. It was very good. I was questioning why he's not in a feud. Why, Backlash and the Raw and the SmackDowns, it seems to be, let's rush to get a number one contender rather than let's build a story. And they are not building any stories. Now, they are with the Intercontinental Championship match, which I'll talk about in a second. But the tag team division is just, we're going to have a number one contenders match immediately. DIY wins. They're still not over. Awesome Truth is going to have to try to carry this match. I already don't care about it. They did the same thing with Naomi and Bayley, where they just threw a match together. Naomi won the match, and that's how it is. They threw a match together. Jey Uso wins the match. It's like, come on. Get the hell out of here, please. Anyway. What was I talking about again? Damian Priest. So Damian Priest, he gives Dominic his marching orders. He's going to go out there and take out Andrade El Idolo. And he wants Finn Balor to focus on beating up Jey Uso. Finn Balor wants to be the tag team champions again. And which is like, does he have rocks in his brain too? This guy's the world champion. Why the hell would he care about the tag team titles? Now, I would imagine he could just pick a different member of Judgment Day for a partner. Probably JD McDonough, which is what they were setting up before. When it looked like they were going to kick Finn Balor out, it looked like he was going to be partners or friends or whatever with JD McDonough. But McDonough sucks. I mean, he sucks hard. But whatever. Dominic Mysterio was defeated by Andrade. The match wasn't as good as it could have been. It was actually fairly short. Andrade wins, which was the right decision. I would have wanted them to stretch this out a little bit more. Maybe I view Dominic on a higher level than Triple H does. Look, I know that Dominic can lose and bounce right back, but just because he can doesn't mean he should. He shouldn't be the Miz, where he just gets punched in the face randomly and pinned every other week. Like, the reason he was getting so much heat is because he would escape those kinds of scenarios. That's what needs to happen. He shouldn't just be getting pinned randomly on Raw. It's like, this is a match that should have been ended in disqualification, where they jumped Andrade and all that kind of stuff. After they jumped Andrade anyway, so might as well get the disqualification out of it, right? So Ricochet comes out there to help Andrade. Andrade and Ricochet, they're going to tag team against JD McDonough and Dominic Mysterio next week. Oof, yeah. That, by the by, that's not good. That ain't good. Andrade rubbing elbows with Ricochet, that ain't good. That sucks. Okay, Finn Balor, he was defeated by Jey Uso, clean in the middle of the ring. Very bizarre. Extremely bizarre. I know Finn Balor isn't, high on the card these days, but Jey Uso, I'm just shrugging. I like Jey Uso. He's very charismatic, far more charismatic than I thought he would be. But his matches just don't click as far as I'm concerned. Every time you look at him, he's either doing the rock punches or he's doing a super kick. He's like, bruh, please. I mean, try to do something else. Literally try. They jumped Jey Uso after the match, of course. He fights back, flees through the crowd, walks through the backstage area. They have this really long shot as he goes through backstage, and he's pushing fans and everything. And he ends up outside the arena where he runs into Sami Zayn, and Sami Zayn staring at the building. He reminisces about coming here as a kid, saw his first wrestling shows here, and now he comes to this building as a champion. Then they dap each other up. Sami Zayn says that Montreal is the best wrestling city and he walks through the backstage area where the crowd just swarms around him. He comes through the crowd for his big entrance. It was a phenomenal single shot. You could see that WWE in firing so many production staff that this is the thing they want to do more of. They want to have fewer cuts, more long shots, which is it's good TV. It's entertaining to be able to see that one long shot and to see the performer, how good the performers are, that they can continue to be in character, to have passion, cut their promo, have intensity on that one shot without multiple cuts to show you this is what we can do live. That's very good. All right. So, Sami Zayn defeats Chad Gable. Earlier in the night, Chad Gable is rolling around in the ring with the Creed brothers. And he says that training with Sami Zayn all this time, he saw Sami Zayn's weaknesses, and tonight he's going to exploit them. And then he fails to exploit them. He loses the match. He lost via haluva kick. One interesting spot in this match, Sami Zayn goes for a sharpshooter. He botches it, falls over, and then instinctively and very intelligently starts selling his leg. Like, oh, I meant to do that. Oh, my knee, ankle, yeah, something. Yeah, I screwed up a sharpshooter, but it's okay. I'll just sell it, which is, smart guy stuff, because you don't know whether he was legitimate or not. But I knew that sharpshooter was doomed to fail when I saw him put his leg through. I was like, that ain't gonna turn out right, and it didn't. And then he's like, oh, my knee, oh. Okay. So, Chad Gable loses clean. He then attacks Sami Zayn after the match. Sami is celebrating with his family, and Chad Gable attacks him, suplexes him on the floor, and then puts him in an ankle lock after running him into the ring post. I think everybody saw that coming, the heel turn for Chad Gable. I'm not sure if that's what everybody wanted. And look, at least it's a story. Chad Gable is obsessed with the Intercontinental Championship. He was not able to fight Gunther for it. Instead, he ended up fighting a guy who he considered his friend. He failed to fight him again, even though he knew all the secrets of Sami Zayn. He still managed to lose. And, in frustration, he lost control. All right. That's a sensible story at the very least. And they had a good match. It was a really good match. Just, if I've already seen the guy beat you, not sure if I'm in a rush to see, these two guys wrestle again. But at least it's something. At least it's a feud. At least it's a story. At least it has some level of emotional weight to it. But it seems to me like it was a cop-out from Triple H's side that he could not and did not capitalize on the popularity of Chad Gable. Therefore, he decided, I'll just turn him heel and push him that way. And people are kind of like, okay. I mean, I see what you're doing, what you're going for here. But we liked him as a babyface. The thing with Chad Gable is he's always been sort of a goofball heel, with the, thank you, and the shoosh and all that kind of stuff. I would imagine he's going to be a far more serious heel now. And I'm cool with this, but he has to turn the Creed brothers too. If the new Alpha Academy or Alpha Academy 2.0 is Chad Gable and the Creed brothers, thumbs up, I'm with you. I'm with you all the way. Because I want the Creeds to get more of an opportunity. I'm good with Chad Gable. He's not terrible. But I want the Creed brothers to get more of a look. Of course, he would beg the question, what do you do with Alpha Academy 1.0? Because as far as I know, they're still hanging around and they haven't broken up. So, did they break up? And I don't know. I don't remember them breaking up. But if this transitions to Alpha Academy 2.0 with the Creed brothers and Chad Gable, I'm good with that. I like that idea. I will fully support it. it should be as baby faces because they're all very good, collegiate baby faces. But as heels, as kind of shooters, I'm good with that. Sami Zayn, really good character work here, great crowd reaction, all that stuff worked out very well. All right, the only thing I didn't talk about so far was Cody. Cody Rhodes, he came out there to waste everybody's time because he had nothing to say really. He spoke French because he's a brown noser. Then he thanked Seth Rollins for having his back as he said he would. Then he said The Rock had a 12-week training camp, was flying wrestlers in from all over the world. He flew in Gallus, by the way. Like, isn't that weird? Like, The Rock is in a warehouse somewhere wrestling with Joe Coffey? What? Could you imagine Joe Coffey's going to tell his grandchildren about that? It's unreal. Anyway, so he says that he thinks that The Rock has more than one match left. And The Rock told him before he left that he was going to bleed. He says, I might bleed, but you're going to bleed with me. Then he said he was confused by Tama Tonga being introduced on SmackDown and with Roman Reigns nowhere in sight. So it was his job to try to keep the Bloodline story running through Raw, but nobody was involved with this. Nobody talked about this. The only person who talked about it was Jay. So Cody introduced Jay, called Jay out, thanked Jay for having his back at WrestleMania, taking care of Jimmy, and he offered to be in his corner for his match with Finn Balor, but Jay said he wanted to handle it himself. Also earlier, because I forgot to mention it, Jey Uso was very somber in discussing what was going on with the Bloodline on SmackDown, with him saying he just told Jimmy to come with him. But, now they're bringing in people we don't know into the Bloodline, which is an interesting scenario because we believed that Tama Tonga was going to be seen as, he was already a member of the family, even though he's Tongan, not Samoan at all. But, Polynesian wrestlers, they all get along. They're all former tag team partners with each other. They're OGs or friends and hung out forever and all that kind of stuff. It seems like Jay's very dismissive of Tama Tonga's entry into the Bloodline. And he was still had some kind of feeling about what happened with Jimmy, which is good because, of course, they're building to the Usos, return. So this was, as a Raw, it was it was okay. Crowd was live, but it's missing something. It's missing angles. It's missing stories. It's missing promos. It's missing stuff. There's a lot of, it's missing feuds. You got Vince Russo on Twitter actually making good points about how do you have Cody Rhodes as the hot new world champion and nobody for him to wrestle. Nobody for him to go back and forth with on promos. Nobody gets in his face. The person who got in his face was The Rock, and The Rock is gone. It's like, now what? You didn't have anything else planned, so now you end up with this likely AJ Styles situation, which does AJ Styles no favors because he's not The Rock. So why are we still building in Cody and The Rock? I don't know. So he made a good point with that. But that applies to Sami Zayn. It applies to Bayley. It applies to the tag team titles. It applies to everywhere. That Triple H just got us to this point and then decided, oh snap, I don't know what to do now. Just throw my favorites out there. These are the guys that I like, and hopefully the crowd will like them too. Incorrect when it comes to DIY. You are incorrect. All right, so there was another major production change. WWE apparently is dropping the, quote, augmented reality things, which was the little logos and mascots or whatever that they used to do for, I think, Fox Sports, when they used to have the little robot and use a point and stuff. And then people did that, and WWE decided to copy it for having little mascots or little cartoons or whatever for every wrestler. And there's people who are pretending that they really was triggered and hated this thing. It's like, I was kind of ambivalent about it. I really didn't care. You know, it didn't interfere with the product as far as I'm concerned. So them getting rid of it, I probably wouldn't have noticed if they didn't make a big deal about it. So let's all say a moment of silence for the augmented reality things. Who cares really? I mean, the gigantic roaring Roman Reigns was pretty weird. The Bianca Belair one with the big lips and the hair, that was weird. You know, the Judgment Day thing, which was basically like death dealers with like, you know, chains and stuff. Okay, some of those things are very weird, and I didn't get them and didn't understand them. Other ones were pretty cool. Cody's was pretty cool because it was just his tattoo with the skull and everything. So apparently they're going to use these only for pay-per-views or something like that. I just don't see why we need to have them at all. Like, I'm not for them. I'm not against them. They don't really get in the way as far as I'm concerned. Now, I haven't mentioned the Wyatt 6 stuff. They're starting to do the QR codes and all this all over again. I think they're setting themselves up for failure with this Bray Wyatt stuff. Bray Wyatt is dead. And as much as it hurts everybody to know that, to recognize that, I think trying to keep up this Uncle Howdy thing with Bray Wyatt not being there, I don't think it's going to help. It certainly hasn't gotten the attention that they wanted it to. They have apparently rehired Eric Rowan. He had to pull out of an indie show so that he could, I guess, be a part of this story. Everybody is saying, hey, look, this is an opportunity to finish what Bray Wyatt has started, and they took some time off, and now Bo Dallas and, you know, Jason Baker and all these guys, Rob Fee, they're about to get involved and do this. Okay. Good luck. Good luck having an Undertaker storyline with no Undertaker. Good luck having a Bray Wyatt storyline with no Bray Wyatt. I mean, you're setting yourself up for failure. But they feel like they have to do it, or they feel like this might be therapeutic for Bo and the family as a way of keeping his legacy alive. Okay. I'm not going to tell you not to do it. I'm just going to say it doesn't look like it's going to work the way you want it to. And that's about that. Also, WWE artist Rob Schamberger apparently has separated from the company. It was very disappointing to hear that. Rob does a really great job with the canvas to canvas stuff, a lot of which that I've used for channel. So hopefully Rob can bounce back and everything will work out great as he continues to do wrestling art, and he'll probably move on to like AEW or something, or just do freelance stuff. But he's a really good artist, and I really enjoyed his work. It sucks that, you know, that TKO is pretty much shedding talent and people who are in ancillary positions. The young lady whose name, I think her name was Sue, she worked there for almost 40 years. She was really good with public relations in WWE. She used to help people get autographs from talent and stuff like this. She did this for almost 40 years. And she was released by by TKO or whatever. It sucks. So it pretty much means that nobody is safe and everybody's pretty much on the chopping block. And that sucks to see, because some people were actually good at their job and some people were actually adding something to the fandom. And Rob Schamberger was one of those people. I think he was adding something to the fandom, but who knows how much he might have cost. But we're in a situation now where we're stuck with Def Rebel. I wish they would get fired. Fire fucking Def Rebel. If you're going to fire anybody, bring back Rob Schamberger. Fire Def Rebel. Or if you're going to cut Rob Schamberger, at least spend that money on some music that matters. Because all the music sucks. All of it. This cannot be a good wrestling show with terrible music. I'm tired of it. And I'm tired of talking about it. But then again, this show was a C+ at best. But let me know what you guys think, and I'll talk to you guys later.
Tell me what's worse than learning all that you led to believe was all horse crap.